Before we begin, take a slow breath. And if you haven't already, gently tap subscribe to join us here at Fusion Ha. This channel is home to peaceful, slow-paced sleep stories, and if this one helps you rest tonight, feel free to like, share, or explore our full sleep story playlist, each one crafted to help you unwind gently, night after night. Now, let's slow everything down. Let the day fall away just like a wave quietly pulling back into the sea. There's no need to hold on to anything anymore. No to-do list. No pressure. Nothing you need to finish first. This is your moment to pause, to soften, to arrive. Take a long, steady breath in. Hold it just for a second, and exhale. Slowly, let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw release. Let your hands rest just where they are, exactly as they are. This moment isn't asking anything of you. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to think. Just breathe. You're here now, and in a moment, you'll be gently guided to a quiet life on the coast of Maine, where foghorns echo softly in the distance. Waves rise and fall against the rocks, and a lighthouse stands tall, patiently turning its light through the evening mist. You'll step into the boots of someone who lives by the sea. A lighthouse keeper with no rush, no noise, no expectations, just the rhythms of water, wind, and rest. Imagine it now, the salty air brushing past your face, a heavy wool coat wrapped around you, its fabric smelling faintly of sea and smoke. Beneath your feet, solid stone. The earth does not shift here. It holds you. You hear the soft hum of a distant foghorn, low and kind, like a voice calling gently from far out at sea. And ahead of you, rising into the night sky, is the lighthouse, tall, steady, lit from within. Its light turns slowly, not urgently, just enough to remind the world that someone is here, someone watching, someone awake. You place your hand on the brass door, handle smooth and worn by time. You pull it open. Inside, warmth, old wooden floors, lanterns glowing faintly, the soft creak of beams shaped by decades of wind and salt. You step inside and close the door behind you. Tea doesn't feel like you've shut the world out. It feels like the world agreed to pause with you. In here, the clock ticks slowly. The light turns. The sea speaks not with drama, but with rhythm. You're not here to fix the lighthouse. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to be the lighthouse keeper for just one quiet night. Maybe a little longer. You make your way to the small bed near the window. The mattress sags just slightly, perfectly. The blanket is heavy. The kind that holds you instead of covers you, and just beyond the window, the ocean moves, waves rise, waves fall. A rhythm so slow and steady, it almost matches your breath. You lie down, let the mattress cradle your back. Let the pillow catch your thoughts. Let your body become quiet. You are safe here. You are welcome here. The world doesn't need you right now. It simply offers you this, a lighthouse, a night sky, the sea, and yourself as you are. Take one more deep, long breath. And now, let the story begin. You arrive just before the storm. The sky is thick with low clouds. layered like blankets waiting to be shaken loose. The air is heavy, not tense, but expectant. A wind comes in off the water and wraps around your coat, pressing the scent of salt into every fold. The lighthouse stands tall before you. It doesn't shimmer or call attention to itself. It just waits steady, whitewashed, a quiet guardian on the edge of the Atlantic. You carry nothing but a small leather satchel. Inside, a notebook, a wrapped sandwich, and a thermos of something. Warm. There's no need for more. The key is under the flat stone near the door, just as you were told it would be. You reach down, lift the cold rock with both hands, and there it is, old brass, shaped like something from another century. You fit it into the lock. The door clicks open. Inside, the lighthouse smells faintly of smoke, wood, and sea air. It is neither warm nor cold, simply room temperature, in the way only old buildings manage. You step inside, and the door shuts behind you with a deep, hollow thud. The walls curve around you. You run your hand along the paint, slightly peeling, slightly damp. This place breathes in time with the ocean. The stairs spiral upward. You don't climb them yet. Instead, you take in the room at the base. A desk pushed against the wall, its surface scratched and salt-worn. A coat rack. A kettle. A cot in the corner, perfectly made, as if someone had just left it minutes before you arrived. You sit at the desk. There's a logbook here, thick and hand-stitched, its pages rippling slightly from years of moisture. You open it. The last entry was 3 weeks ago. Winds coming in from the southeast. Lantern light steady. No vessels tonight. Fog by dawn. You turn the page. You take the pencil from the groove in the desk, and without thinking too hard, you write. Storm expected by midnight. Light functioning. Foghorn audible every 22 seconds. Wind beginning to lift. You close the book. There's a quiet here you've never known before, not just an absence of sound. An absence of needing to be anything more than what you are. You stand and walk toward the stairs. Your boots echo softly with each step. The spiral is narrow, but not steep. You move at your own pace, halfway up. There's a small landing with a window. You pause. Outside, the sea stretches into the dark. No lights on the water. Just the suggestion of movement rising and falling like a breath you can't quite hear. You continue up another turn. Another creak of the stairs. Then the final platform, the top room of the lighthouse. The lamp housing is made of glass, ribbed and rounded like the eye of some ancient animal. The light turns slowly, not blinking, not sharp, just a slow, steady beam that brushes the sea in long arcs. You sit in the worn wooden chair near the window. It rocks gently, the only part of the lighthouse that moves without the wind. The storm is closer now. You can feel it. Not in the sky in your chest, the kind of storm that isn't dangerous. Just inevitable, a shift in the weather, a reminder that everything changes, even when it looks still. You pour yourself a cup of tea from your thermos. The steam rises. Your hands warm around the metal. Below, the waves crash once, then again. Not angry, just tired of being silent. You look up at the ceiling. It drips slowly in one corner. A soft tap every 18 seconds. You count 3. Then it stops. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to write about it. You just let it be. The wind rises. The foghorn sounds again low, mournful, steady. It doesn't ask for anything. It just announces itself. I'm here. You're not alone. You lean back in the chair. Let your eyes close just for a moment, and as they do, you don't fall asleep. You simply fall still. The sea continues. The light continues. You continue. No questions. No decisions, only this moment. And the sound of waves far below. And the slow, faithful turn of the lamp. You open your eyes slowly. No alarm. No interruption. Just the shift in air that tells you something has changed. The wind, it's stronger now. You can hear it in the way the lighthouse groans, not with discomfort, but like a ship riding a long, heavy wave. You rise from the chair. The tea is still warm in the thermos. You take another sip, then pour the rest into a small enamel mug and set it on the ledge near the window. Outside, the sea has vanished behind a curtain of mist. It doesn't fall like rain. It gathers, soft, thick, and silent. The foghorn sounds again. This time it feels closer. The world beyond the glass narrows. The light makes its rounds, sweeping through nothingness, visible only when it touches the mist, carving slow arcs of brightness through gray. You press your palm to the window, cold, not sharp, not biting, just clean. You leave the lamp room and head down the spiral stairs. They creak under your weight. Your hand trails the railing, fingers tracing over 100 years of use. Back in the base room, the quiet is deeper. The windows are slightly fogged. The edges of the wooden floor are darkened by sea moisture. A small stove sits in the corner. Cold for now, you remove your coat and hang it on the iron hook. Your boots come off next. The floor under your socks is rough, but it doesn't bother. It feels grounding. You move to the shelf near the cot and retrieve a thick wool blanket. It smells like cedar and old salt. You fold it over your lap and sit down on the edge of the bed. You breathe, not to calm yourself, but to feel your breath, to remember it's there. And steady, a small book lies near the foot of the bed, bound in cloth, spine loose, corners curled. You open it, not to read, just to feel the pages. Inside are notes from previous keepers. Some are detailed, some barely legible, all written with the kind of quiet intention that comes from days spent with wind and sea and time. One page reads, 3 gulls circled the tower this morning. I think they like the sound of the light. 11:27 a.m. Sky clear. Wind changed direction without warning. Felt like the sea was having a thought. You smile. Close the book. Set it gently back in place. There's something calming about the ordinary here. No messages in bottles. No storms to save. Just the act of staying. The storm hasn't arrived yet, but you can feel its edge. You move to the small window by the desk. From here, you can see a sliver of coastline gray rocks, slanted trees leaning away from the sea, and grass flattened in places by wind. No boats. No visitors, just the world as it is. You put a kettle on the stove. Light it. The flame is small and blue. You wait. You don't check the time. You don't rush. Eventually, it whistles a sound that rises slowly, like a voice unsure whether. It wants to speak. You pour the water into a ceramic mug with chipped edges. Drop in a tea bag black, strong. You don't stir. You let it steep. Let the heat do the work. You sit again, blanket over your lap, mug in your hands. The fog wraps itself tighter around the lighthouse. The light above turns. The foghorn groans. And you are exactly where you need to be. You think about nothing. In particular, maybe about how long this tower has stood here. How many keepers have sat in this same spot, wrapped in this same kind of night? Watching fog roll in from the sea, you think about how time feels slower here. Not because of the quiet, but because there is no demand for it to be fast. You can feel the storm now, not the rain. Not the thunder, just the way the wind presses harder against the windows. The way the sea has become a single voice, rising. Just slightly with each breath, you feel no fear. You feel settled. The lighthouse is strong. You are strong, not loud, not forceful, just steady. And tonight, that's enough. You drink your tea. The room grows dimmer. Outside, the light continues its sweep. You hear the creak of rope somewhere, a pulley shifting, a metal chain swinging in the wind. The kettle cools. The air thickens. You stand, walk to the door, place your hand on the latch, and for a moment, you just listen to the wind, to the sea, to yourself. Nothing asks for your attention but the world. Welcomes your quiet. You don't open the door. Not yet. You just know. It's there. The night. The sea. The waiting, and you are part of it now, exactly where you're meant to be. The wind howls once not with anger, but with purpose. It curls around the tower like a cloak being fastened by unseen hands. The windows shudder faintly in their frames. You stay at the door a while longer. Not bracing, just present. Your fingers trace the old iron handle, warmed slightly from your palm. The grain of the wood beneath it is familiar now, textured and salt-worn. You open the door slowly. It doesn't fight you. The wind greets you instantly, brushing against your face like cold cloth. You step out onto the narrow stone ledge that circles the tower's base. There's a railing here rusted low, enough to guide but not guard. You place your hands on it. Feel the dampness cling to your skin. Salt. Mist. A little rain, maybe. The sea is invisible now. Only its voice remains louder, more layered. Waves roll toward the rocks far below, each one a soft crash followed by a deep inhale. Somewhere in the distance, a gull cries once. Then silence again. You tilt your head. Back, the lighthouse beam slices through the fog overhead, a single arc of light sweeping its slow rhythm across nothingness. It doesn't care what it touches. It just continues. You watch it pass over you. Once. Then again, a sound of assurance. A heartbeat made of light. You breathe in. The air fills your lungs sharper than before. Clean. Strong. Then you step back inside. The door shuts behind you with its signature thud. You lock it. Not for safety. For ritual, there is peace in doing things slowly. One task at a time. One breath per step. You light a lantern, the kind with a glass belly and a little brass handle dot. A tea glows softly more golden than the lighthouse. Beam. This light is for staying in, for sitting, for resting. You place it on the desk. Then return to the cot, blanket, mug, notebook. You pick up the pencil again. Open to a fresh page, and you write. 8:52 p.m. Fog thick. Sea rising, light steady. You pause. Add one more line. Feeling calm. Feeling small, but not alone. You set the pencil down. The clock ticks quietly in the corner. Its rhythm doesn't waver. You match it with your breath. Tick. Inhale. Tick. Exhale. The storm is still not here. But its presence is dot. It lives in the pause between the waves. In the heaviness of the fog. In the long breath. The world seems to be waiting for the first drop of rain. You return to the top, climbing slowly. Not out of effort. Out of reverence. Each step upward brings the sound of wind closer. The hum of the turning light grows. Louder dotted to the top. The lantern room pulses with soft power. The beam makes its rounds passing through the mist in a wide, slow circle. Never missing a beat, you sit again in the chair by the glass. Rocking slightly, you can hear the tower now. Not in a creaking or groaning, but in the way it breathes. Expanding, settling, holding. This tower has stood through storms that tore ships apart. It has watched waves taller than the lamp room. It has stayed, and now. So have you. You watch the light complete its arc once more. Then you close your eyes. You don't fall asleep. You just fall inward, drifting in the rhythm of your breath, your heartbeat, the sweep of the light, the lull of the sea dot in the distance. The foghorn sounds again. The wind rises. The first drop of rain strikes the glass, and you stay. Right here, the first raindrops come without urgency. A few soft taps against the glass. One, then another, spaced out, gentle. Like the start of a conversation, you open your eyes. The light is still sweeping, casting soft arcs across the fog outside. Each pass illuminates the rain for just a moment, not enough to see the sea, but enough to know it's there. You stay in the chair a little longer. The storm doesn't rush in dot. It unfolds. The wind deepens, not louder, just lower, like it's found a new part of the sky to move through. The drops against the glass come more frequently now. Still not pounding. Still not harsh, just consistent. You feel the air grow heavier. You rise and walk once more down the spiral stairs, lantern in hand. Each step echoes slightly now, the kind of sound that belongs in lighthouses. Not footsteps dot memory dotted to the bottom. The base room feels warmer somehow. Though the storm is just beginning, the tower feels protective, old, sure, and unshaken. You pull on your coat again. Not to leave, just to feel wrapped in something heavier than the weather. You stoke the stove. Light a small fire. The warmth is mild, almost symbolic, not enough to fill the room, just enough to keep a corner of it glowing. You place the kettle on again. There's something comforting in its processed water, heat, sound, steam. It's like a ceremony. One only you attend. You sit at the desk, and look out the window. The storm has taken shape now. The wind brushes harder against the glass. Rain streaks across it sideways. Every few seconds, the light above cuts through the fog, a faint beam sweeping across the far trees and returning without a sound. You sip your tea, and still you feel calm. This is not a storm that surprises. It doesn't chase. It doesn't demand. It's just weather. And you are inside it safely, wholly, without resistance. The foghorn echoes again. This time it sounds closer, as if the sea is exhaling something it's been holding for days. You sit with that sound. Let it fill the corners of the room. Let it fill something in you. There's an old oilskin journal on the bookshelf. You hadn't noticed it before. You pull it down. Its pages are thick, uneven, made from old pulp and salt rough paper. Inside, the writing is different, messier. Older ink, faded lines. You can barely read some of it, but one page stands out. The ink is darker, the writing sharper, storm coming in. Don't worry. These walls have held longer than memory. The wind may speak, but it does not break. Let it speak. You read the last line again. Let it speak. You close the book slowly and hold it against your chest. The tower creaks, the window rattles once, and then the sound fades again into rhythm. You step toward the door, open it a few inches. The wind doesn't fight you. It brushes past your face, through your hair, around your collar. It smells of sea and dark pine, of driftwood and dusk. The rain has thickened, but it's not wild. It falls like a steady hush, as if the sky is pouring its thoughts onto the world, one line at a time. You close the door again, not to shut it out, but to keep the warmth in. You check the lantern's oil. Still half full, you tighten the knob, turn the wick just slightly. Its flame dances, but holds steady. You return to the cot. Not to lie down, just to rest against the wall. You pull the wool blanket around your shoulders. You sit there for a long time, listening, not waiting, just listening. The rain against the glass, the sigh of the wind through the tower's frame, the low, constant heartbeat of the sea. Outside, the lighthouse light continues its work. The beam turns and turns and turns. Inside, nothing changes, and somehow everything settles. You close your eyes once more, not to sleep. To stay, even as the storm fully arrives. The tower hums with the storm now, not loud but alive. Its wooden bones shift gently with the rhythm of the wind. Rain taps harder against the windows. It doesn't demand attention. It simply makes itself known, like a visitor who doesn't knock, but waits at the door until you feel its presence. You sit quietly, wrapped in the wool blanket, your body tucked gently into the corner of the cot. The flame in the lantern beside you flickers, but doesn't falter. You watch it dance, not because it tells you something new, but because it reminds you of steadiness in motion. The foghorn sounds again, deep and round. It cuts through the wind like memory, not sharp, just impossible to forget. You close your eyes. The tower sways almost imperceptibly, just enough to remind you that this place is alive. Not still like stone, but balanced like a boat held in place by trust. There's no fear in your body, only breath, only the awareness that you are small, but never lost. Minutes pass, maybe hours. Time folds here, the storm deepens. Waves crash harder. Now you can feel it in the base of your spine, like a rhythm pulsing through the rock beneath the lighthouse. But still, nothing breaks. You hear the distant sound of a shutter rattling. You rise slowly, blanket still wrapped around your shoulders, and walk to the door once more when you open it. The wind rushes in not cruelly, just fully. It wraps around your legs, pulls at the edge of the blanket. Rain speckles your cheeks. Mist clings to your hair. You step out onto the ledge, gripping the railing with one hand. The sea is below, wild now, moving like breath on the edge of panic, but still part of something ancient, something familiar. Waves crash against the cliffside. White spray rises high enough to catch the glow of the lighthouse beam. It lights up for only a second, then vanishes again into fog. You tilt your head upward. The sky is full of movement, clouds racing above the beam, moisture pouring sideways, but the tower stands still, and so do you, not because you resist the wind, but because you let it pass through you. You're not trying to stop the storm. You are simply present within it. That is your role here. Not to conquer the weather, not to predict it, just to stay. And to light the way for others, even if no one sails by tonight. You close the door again, this time with effort, not resistance, but weight. The wind leans against it, like a friend who doesn't want you to leave. Inside, the room feels warmer. Or maybe you do. You move back toward the desk. Open the logbook once more. The pages feel softer now, like they've absorbed the storm too. You write, 11:42 p.m. Storm full now, rain thick, wind strong, light steady, foghorn consistent. I am still here. You don't sign your name. You never have to. The lighthouse knows you now, and that is enough. You place the book back on the shelf. Check the fire. It's glowing gently, the kind of warmth that doesn't need to roar to comfort. You light a second lantern. Set it on the floor beside the cot. Its glow reaches just far enough to stretch the shadows, but not chase them away. You lie down now, blanket up to your chest, hands folded lightly on your stomach, and for the first time since the storm began, you let your body sink into full rest. You're not asleep. Not yet, but every part of you has softened. Your forehead, your shoulders, your thoughts. The tower rocks faintly again. Not back and forth just once. A long, slow exhale, and then, for a moment, everything outside goes quiet. And no wind, no rain. Just the sound of the turning light above, and the breath of the sea below. You are alone and somehow completely surrounded by peace. You're not sure how long you've been lying there, eyes closed, body still, wrapped in warmth, wrapped in wind. Outside, the storm has softened, not gone, just quieter, like a song reaching its final verse. You can hear it in the way the rain now falls straight instead of sideways. The wind no longer pulls, it glides. The windows no longer tremble. They simply breathe. You open your eyes. The lantern is still glowing. The room is dim, but not dark. You sit up slowly, letting the blanket slip to your waist. There's a softness in your limbs, not weakness. Release, you stand. Stretch your arms overhead. Roll your shoulders and walk once again to the door. You open it gently. The air that greets you is damp and sweet. There's a stillness to it, not empty, but grateful. The storm is passing. You step outside. The old wood of the ledge cool beneath your boots. The sky has started to change. Where once there was only black and fog, now there is a faint suggestion of light, just a thread of pale gray stretched across the horizon. Where the ocean meets the edge of sky, you close your eyes. Breathe it in. The sea is quieter now. Still moving always, but the rhythm has slowed. The foghorn sounds again, but further away this time. Not mournful, just steady. You lean against the railing. And for the first time in hours, you listen to the silence between each wave, each breath of wind, each turn of the light. There's a kind of clarity in the aftermath of storms, not because they resolve anything, but because they strip away everything that didn't matter. You don't feel triumphant. You don't feel changed. You feel present. You've stayed. That was enough. You head back inside. The room is dim now, the first hints of blue pushing at the corners of night. You light the stove again. Boil more water. The kettle hums softly. You pour it into the same old mug, watching the steam rise in lazy curls. This time you don't sit at the desk. You carry the tea up the spiral staircase, step by quiet step, until you reach the lantern room at the top. The sky here looks wider. Open, the glass around you is streaked with rain, but still offers a view. The sea stretches far, waves now rolling instead of crashing. Mist hovering in low patches over the water. The horizon is still a blur. But there's a softness to it, a promise of coming light. You sit in the chair, wrap both hands around the warm mug, and for a long while, you just watch the light make its turns. One slow arc at a time, cutting gently through the fading mist. This is not the end of the storm, but it is the beginning of calm, the kind that doesn't arrive with fanfare, just quietly, like fog lifting from a mirror. You sip your tea, feel the heat in your chest, the weight of your body in the chair, the pulse of the ocean below. The clock downstairs ticks softly in the background. The foghorn calls once more, and inside you, stillness. Not the stillness of nothing, the stillness of everything that remains. You don't notice the first light. Not at first dot. It comes in quietly, not with color, but with shape. The horizon begins to form. Edges that were once lost in shadow start to return. The sea defines itself again, lines drawn softly in motion. You watch through the glass as the world shifts. The fog thins, gently pulling itself back like a curtain. No rush, no drama, just release. You sip your tea again. It's cooler now, but still warm enough to hold. Outside, the clouds break apart slowly, streaking the sky with pale blue. Hints of lavender and soft rose begin to rise near the edge of water. You set the mug down on the windowsill, careful not to let it rattle. There is a quiet you don't want to disturb. You stand and place your hand against the cool glass. It's damp with condensation, but you don't wipe it away. It's part of the morning, part of the storm's memory. Below, the rocks glisten with rain. Pools have formed in their crevices. Reflecting the light of the turning beacon above, the sea still moves with power, but it's slower now. Measured, you begin your descent, step by step. The wooden staircase welcomes your return like an old friend dotted to the bottom. The stove has gone out. The lantern still flickers. You open the door again, this time fully. The air rushes in, cool, wet. Alive, the breeze carries the scent of cedar and damp stone, of wild grass, of salt and something else, freshness, not new, just uncovered. You step outside, boots meeting the stone threshold with a familiar thud. The path down to the bluff is narrow and slick, but you walk it slowly, with the care of someone who knows the ground. Even if only by instinct, you reach the lower platform near the base of the lighthouse, where the sea opens wide before you. The sky is glowing now, not bright, but blooming. Clouds stretch overhead like long brushstrokes. The color is soft, not golden, but the kind of light that makes everything feel touched by something kinder than time. You sit on a rock, damp but smooth, and rest your hands on your knees. You breathe. The ocean breathes too, and for a long while. You simply sit together. You don't think about the storm, not in fear, not in memory. You think only of what remains: the sea, the sky, the lighthouse behind you, and yourself steady and still. You hear a gull cry in the distance, a single bird flying low above the rocks, wings cutting cleanly through the morning breeze. You follow it with your eyes, not out of curiosity, but out of quiet connection. The bird doesn't land. It doesn't circle. It just passes through, as if checking in. You smile without realizing it, then stand. The sun hasn't risen above the trees yet, but the world is awake. The lighthouse light continues its slow, faithful rotation, its job. Nearly done, but never truly finished. You walk the path back to the tower. Each step feels softer now. You open the door again. Inside, the space feels new, not changed, but freshly seen. The bed is still made. The logs are still in the basket. Your tea mug waits where you left it. You take a breath. Long, full, unhurried. Then you sit at the desk, open the logbook one more time, and write. 5:30 for a.m. Storm passed, sea calming, mist clearing. The light kept turning. I stayed. You close the book gently, slide it back into its place on the shelf, and let your hand rest there for a moment, just long enough to know that this too will be remembered. The light above continues its slow turn, even as dawn settles fully across the coast. It doesn't stop for sunlight. It just grows quieter, fading into the background like a gentle hum that stays even when it's no longer needed. You rise from the desk and move through the room with unspoken purpose. You're not in a hurry, but your body knows what to do. There's comfort in the rhythm of routine, in the simplicity of tasks that don't demand decisions, only presence. You open the narrow cupboard beside the stove. Inside, a tin of oats, a jar of dried blueberries, a small bag of salt. You measure with your hands. No scale, no spoon, just instinct and repetition. The kettle goes on once more, and the soft sound of bubbling water begins to fill the space. You stir the oats slowly, letting the scent of steam and grain rise into the air. The warmth feels different. This morning, earned. Invited, you carry your bowl to the desk. Outside the window, the fog is thinned to a memory. Only a few low patches hover over the sea. Soft as breath against glass, you eat slowly, watching the light begin to touch the tops of the trees. Pine needles shimmer faintly where raindrops still cling. The rocks below glisten in the new day. You don't speak. There's no one to speak to, but you don't feel alone. Not here. This place holds you like a memory, like a hand resting lightly between your shoulders. After breakfast, you clean your bowl. You dry it with an old linen cloth, hang the towel on its hook, and run your finger along the edge of the shelf to check for dust. None. You smile. The lighthouse is not spotless, but it's cared for, and so are you. You check the logbook one last time, then head up the spiral staircase. The climb feels easier today. Not because you're stronger, but because the weight of the storm has lifted. The lamp room greets you with soft light and silence. You step to the window. The sun has fully risen now, casting gold across the sea. It dances in small waves, sparkling without showing off. The light is no longer needed. You move to the control panel. Flick the switch to power down the lens. The beam slows again, then rests. Its final revolution fades in a soft reflection. Across the walls, you place your palm on the glass housing, cool, still, grateful. You stay there for a moment, letting the silence settle around you, letting the quiet work it did all night sink in. You are no longer watching for ships, no longer bracing against wind. You are simply here as keeper of the lighthouse, of the stillness, of yourself. You head back down. The rooms are filled with early light now. No lamps needed, no fire. You open the journal once more. Not the logbook, the one with the cloth cover and curled edges. You flip to a new page and write slowly. This morning feels like memory. Not of something past, but of something I'm still inside. The kind of calm that doesn't fade when you stand up. The kind that follows you into the next moment. The light rests now. The sea too. And I am still keeping watch. Even in the quiet, you close the book and leave it where you found it. Unhidden. Unrushed. The day will unfold from here. Maybe there will be visitors. Maybe not. Maybe clouds will return, or the wind. But for now, there is sun on the windowsill, steam curling from your last sip of tea, and the echo of waves moving gently below. You stretch once more. Not to wake up, but to greet the day from the inside out. The storm has passed, but the lighthouse remains, and so do you. You step outside again, this time without your coat. The air is still cool, but kinder. The kind of cool that comes not from coldness, but from things freshly washed. The path along the edge of the cliff is damp, its stones darkened by the night's rain. Patches of grass bend underfoot, releasing the soft scent of earth. You walk slowly. There is no destination, just direction. To the east, the sea stretches wide and calm. Waves roll in with gentle rhythm now, small and regular, like breath that no longer needs to prove itself. You pause near the edge. Below, the rocks are slick and shining. Pockets of water rest in shallow pools, still catching the colors of dawn. You squat carefully and press your hand against the stone. It's cold, but steady. Rough in some places, smooth in others, like everything touched by time. And salt, a shell rests in one of the pools. White. Whole. No bigger than your thumb. You don't take it. You just admire it, then stand and move on. The path winds slightly to your right. The lighthouse stands tall behind you. Its lens now quiet, but its presence unchanged. It is not a building. Not entirely. It is a companion, a witness, and somehow a reflection. You reach a small grove of wind-blown pines near the base of the hill. Their needles shimmer in the sunlight. The ground beneath them is soft, blanketed in a carpet of fallen green. You sit on a low stone near the edge of the grove. Stretch your legs. Close your eyes. You don't fall asleep. But you do fall into stillness. The wind moves gently through. The trees. A soft hissing sound like whispers between old friends. Somewhere, a distant boat engine hums faintly. You picture it passing slowly along the outer edge of the coast. Small, steady, and unaware that someone watched over it through. The night, you breathe in deeply. The scent of salt and pine settles in your chest. You hold it there for a moment. Then let it go. You reach into your pocket and pull out your notebook. Just a few pages remain. You flip to the next empty one, rest the spine on your knee, and begin to write, not for the log, not for the record. Just for yourself. The sea looks different after a storm. Not just calmer, but older. As if something has been remembered, and I feel the same. This morning feels like a lesson I didn't know I needed to learn. That surviving something doesn't always change you, but staying through it, that always does. You let the pencil rest. You don't reread. You don't edit. You close the notebook and press it against your chest for a moment. The stone beneath you is warm now, the kind of warmth that takes time, the kind that doesn't arrive, but builds you. Stand. Dust your hands against your pants. Stretch once more and begin your walk back. The lighthouse watches your return. Not like a sentry, like a home. The steps feel familiar again. Your feet know where to land. Your hands brush the railing with the comfort of repetition. You reach the door. It opens with its same soft groan. Inside, the space welcomes you back with open silence. You hang your notebook on its hook near the desk. Place your pencil back. In the groove, you walk to the window and lean your forehead against the cool glass. Outside, the sun is rising higher. The sea is silver blue. The horizon is clear, and somewhere, behind all of that, you feel a sense of something deeper. Peace, not because everything is easy, but because you stayed long enough to feel it become simple. You move through the lighthouse, like someone moving through a memory. Not because it's behind you, but because everything now feels softer, gently wrapped in meaning. The light no longer spins, but the tower still holds its rhythm. Each step has a sound you now know well. Each creak in the floorboard feels intentional, as if the building itself were breathing with you. You rinse your mug and set it on the drying cloth. Fold the blanket neatly at the foot of the cot. Straighten the notebook on the desk. Wipe a small. Smudge from the lantern glass with the cuff of your sleeve. None of it feels like a chore. It feels like keeping, not just the lighthouse, but the stillness, the atmosphere, the memory of what the night gave you. You light a candle in the corner near the stairwell, not for light, but for presence. Its flame dances faintly in the morning air. Steady, soft, just enough. You walk once more up the stairs, each footfall slow, not from fatigue, but from intention. At the top, the lantern room is warm with sun. Not hot, just filled with a comfortable glow. You open one of the smaller side windows. Let the breeze roll in. The scent of the sea rises to greet you once more. You stand with your hands on the frame, looking out over the wide blue that stretches in every direction. Boats are visible now, tiny shapes far off near the horizon. You don't know where they're headed. You don't need to. You are never meant to go with them, only to keep the light steady when they needed it most. And now you have. You turn from the window. Descend slowly once again to the keeper's room. Your body is beginning to feel the softness of early fatigue, not from strain, from holding still through a night of wind, and being fully present in your own skin. You stretch once more, back arched gently, arms overhead, then lower yourself to the cot. It's still made, but you pull the blanket halfway over yourself, not to sleep deeply, but to rest in the way a shoreline rests between tides. The air is quiet. The candle flickers in the corner. A single gull cries faintly beyond the window. You rest your head against the pillow. Let your hands fall to your sides. Let your chest rise and fall. You do not close your eyes quickly. There's no rush to leave this waking calm. Instead, you look up at the wooden ceiling, its beams darkened by time and salt. Marks where someone scratched initials years ago. You wonder who they were, what kind of storms they saw, what kind of silence they came to love. You don't feel alone here, not in the way people mean. You feel full. Full of the ocean's rhythm, full of the tower's memory, full of something unspoken but deeply understood. You close your eyes. You're not gone. You are simply still, and in that stillness, you remain the keeper, not of the tower, of this moment. You wake slowly, not from a deep sleep, but from something softer, a drift, a pause. The kind of rest that doesn't pull you under, but simply lets you float. The blanket is still wrapped loosely around you. The room is filled with warm light. No shadows now. Just a golden wash that touches every surface gently. You sit up, stretch, breathe in. Listen, the lighthouse is quiet. The stove has gone cold again. The candle is still burning. Low, steady, you move to the window. Outside, the sea sparkles. Not dramatically. Just enough to remind you that it's still alive. The sky is pale blue now. Clouds spread thin like watercolor. A breeze brushing through the trees at the edge of the bluff. You step outside, boots on the stone threshold, coat left behind. The sun warms your arms as you move into the open. You take a different path this time, not toward the rocks, but away from the sea, up a narrow slope toward the tree line that marks the edge of the inland trail. The pines sway softly. Their scent fills the air, sharp and clean. Birdsong filters through the branches in broken patterns. You walk slowly. No destination again, just movement. There's a rhythm here too. Not the ocean's, but something quieter. Something older, the land here doesn't shift. It watches. You pass a patch of wild grass, yellowed at the tips, moving in waves of its own. A single butterfly drifts across the trail, silent and aimless. You don't follow it. You let it pass. A little further up, you find a fallen log, moss-covered, soft. You sit. The view here is different. No lighthouse, no water. Just trees, light, space. You let your elbows rest on your knees. You listen, and in that silence, you notice something. You are not lonely. You are alone, yes. But not in absence, in fullness, in presence. There are no voices here, but you are surrounded by witness, the trees, the insects, the clouds slowly drifting above. Everything is aware of you, not watching, but accepting. You pick up a small pine cone, turn it in your hand. Its texture is familiar, but you look at it like it's new. The world is like that now. Familiar, but gently unfamiliar. As if the storm and the night and the light have changed the filter through which you see, not brighter, just clearer. You sit for a while longer, let the quiet wrap around you, then stand, brush your hands together, stretch your back, turn to return. The walk back is unmarked, but your feet know where to go. You pass the trees again, the butterfly again, or another one. You see the sea reappear through the gaps in the green, and then the lighthouse, still, sturdy, welcoming. In its way, you reach the door. Open it. Inside, everything is just as you left it, and yet it feels freshly yours. You light the stove again. Place the kettle on without needing to think. This isn't just a place you're visiting. This is a place you are becoming part of, one quiet breath at a time. The kettle begins to hum. You pour the water into the same mug, the ceramic now warm from use, its edges familiar against your palm. You sit at the desk again. The sunlight falls across the wooden surface in soft stripes, slanting through the window beside you. Outside, the sea is calm, but constant a presence you no longer have to observe closely to feel. You take a sip. It's hot, rich, grounding. There's no need to hurry through it. No one waiting. No task pressing. This is part of your duty to sit, to breathe, to drink something warm in a room full of light and quiet. After a while, you stand, stretch your arms gently above your head. Turn your shoulders. Let your neck fall side to side with a soft crackle of release. Then you begin your rounds. They are simple. You check the oil levels in the main lamp, still more than half. You wipe down the windows in the stairwell, removing a thin trace of sea spray from last night's storm. You brush fallen pine needles away from the stone entryway outside. You fold the spare blanket, tighten the lid on the grain jar, refill the small basin with fresh water from the well. Each action is slow, not because of effort, but because of care. When you move slowly, nothing feels like work. It feels like a way of saying, this matters. The sun begins to shift lower in the sky. You can see it change in the way the shadows stretch along the floor, in the way the corners of the room begin to glow with a deeper gold. Afternoon softens everything, even your thoughts. You sit once more at the edge of the bed, pull the wool blanket over your knees. Not for warmth, for grounding. The lighthouse is quiet. The sea is steady. Your body feels light, but rooted. You pick up your notebook. Turn to a fresh page.no prompt. No purpose, just space. You write slowly. I don't know if this kind of peace exists everywhere, but I know it exists here. I used to think silence was empty, but now I know it's full of answers I never knew how to ask for. Stillness is not the absence of motion. It's the return to rhythm. You stop, set the pencil down. The words don't need to be finished. They just needed to be released. You close the book, lean back slightly. Listen, a gull cries outside. The stove ticks softly as it cools. The breeze pushes gently at the door, but doesn't enter. This is the middle of the day. The dash between dot and a rush. Just rest. You close your eyes for a moment and let yourself pause again, not out of need, but out of permission. The light above will spin again tonight. The wind may rise, or not, but for now, there is nothing missing, nothing chasing, nothing broken, just a lighthouse, a sky, a sea, and someone who stayed. The light in the room begins to tilt. Not disappear, just lean dot. A T stretches across the walls in longer shapes, pulling golden threads across the floorboards, turning the glass in the windows to a mirror of the deepening sky. You rise slowly from the bed. The day has moved gently, like a tide pulling back without being noticed. You walk to the door, open it without sound, and step out into the breeze. The air is cooler now, still soft, but touched with the beginning of night. The sea glows faintly beneath the horizon's edge, catching what's left of the sun and scattering it in broken silver. The trees behind you sway lightly, their silhouettes already darkening. You take a long breath, filling your chest with the scent of pine and ocean and stone, and you feel it again, the change, the hush that comes not from quiet, but from the world preparing to shift. Evening is not sudden. It gathers slowly, and now it has arrived. You step back inside, hang your coat once more. Light the stove again with a few well-placed sticks. The fire crackles softly, then settles. You place the kettle back on. Begin the evening ritual. The lanterns are trimmed, the wicks checked, the oil topped off. You strike a match and light the first one. Its glow fills the room, yellow and familiar. Not meant to see by, but to feel safe beside. You climb the spiral. Stairs. The light above has not turned all day, but the room has kept its warmth, its view, its promise. You walk to the control panel. Check each lever. Press the small switch, and then wait. The hum is almost nothing. But then the lens shudders faintly, rotates a fraction, and begins to turn once, twice. A perfect rhythm outside. The beam stretches into the first blue of dusk, its light passing through layers of soft mist that have begun to gather over the sea dot. A T doesn't reach far, but it reaches enough. You sit dot in the chair that has shaped itself to you. In the room that knows your footsteps now, you rest your hand. On the windowsill, feel the coolness of the glass, the steady movement of the beam. You don't speak. There's no need to. The tower speaks for you. Its light says, I'm here. Its height says, I'm watching. Its silence says, you're not alone. You stay until the beam completes another slow full turn. Then rise. Descend the Stairs once more. You pour a cup of tea, sit at the desk, and look out the window. The sky is darker now. Not black but indigo. One star appears. Then two. Then five. Spaced out like promises kept quietly. You write in the logbook, evening calm, light functioning, wind light from the west. No ships visible, fog gathering offshore. Feeling steady, you close the book. Slide it back into place. The stove flickers behind you. The mug warms your palms. The lighthouse turns above. The ocean exhales below, and you prepare to stay again, not because it is required, because it is enough. The sky is dark now, not suddenly, but completely. The last hints of dusk have folded into shadow, and in their place the stars stretch wide overhead, clearer than the night before, brighter now that the storm has passed. You finish your tea and set the mug down carefully. Let it rest on the cloth by the window, where it catches the lantern. Light just enough to glow faintly. The lighthouse feels different at night, not unfamiliar, not unfriendly, just deeper. Every sound seems to reach further. Every breath seems to settle lower in your chest. You climb the stairs once more. Each step creaks in a slightly different voice. You've started to recognize them. Near the top, the cool air brushes past your skin. The lamp room is darker than before. Despite the rotating beam, the rest of the world has gone quiet. And that quietness enters here, curling around the walls, wrapping itself into the corners. You stand near the glass and look out. The ocean is invisible now. Only the white foam of breaking waves gives it shape. The horizon is gone, blended into the sky, and in this darkness, you feel the most connected because you know the sea is still there. You know the rocks below still hold the base of the tower. You know the light is still turning even when you can't see them. That's the thing about keeping watch. You don't always need to observe. You just need to stay. You sit in the chair, rock gently with the rhythm of the tower. It doesn't move, but something inside it pulses like a quiet heartbeat. You match it with your breath, slow, full, present. The beam turns above you, the foghorn sounds once, low and deep, like the night itself clearing its throat. You imagine the light reaching out, passing over sleeping waters, touching the hulls of quiet boats, catching the eye of no one, and still it turns. You are not here to be seen. You are here to shine. You stay there for a while, watching darkness move, not in shape, in feeling. The sky grows even darker, the stars sharpening above. You see constellations you don't name, not because you've forgotten, but because tonight they don't need names. They're just there, companions, ancient keepers of stillness. Eventually, you stand again. Your back is stiff, but not sore. Your limbs feel slow, but not tired. You descend to the lower room, where the lantern still burns, where the stove has dimmed but not died. You place a small log on the coals. Let it catch slowly. Then you sit, wrap the blanket around your shoulders. Not for warmth, for ritual. The logbook rests on the desk, still closed. The notebook, too. You don't write this time. You just listen. The wind outside is light now, barely brushing the tower. The sea still moves, but without urgency. It rolls. Like breath in deep sleep, you close your eyes, and for a while you just are. Not a role. Not a task, a presence, a quiet heartbeat in a quiet room in a tower by the sea under stars that have never forgotten your name. The room is still, the kind of stillness that comes only after the world has finished speaking for the day. You remain. Seated by the fire, its glow a soft, breathing light across the floor. The blanket around your shoulders feels heavier now, not from weight, but from warmth that has settled in fully. Your eyes are half closed. Not from exhaustion, but from peace. You're not falling asleep. You're drifting, a slow slide into the quiet inside you, the kind that matches the hush of waves against distant rock, the distant cry of a gull who forgot to leave before nightfall. The lighthouse above you turns. You hear its quiet mechanism, the soft resistance of old glass against the night. It doesn't creak. It hums. You let your head rest against the wooden wall behind you. It's cool. Solid. Familiar now. You glance toward the logbook. It remains closed. You've written enough for today. The tower remembers everything you didn't say aloud. You shift. Slightly. Your legs curl up on the cot. You pull the blanket higher. Let it cover your chest and shoulders completely. One hand rests beneath your cheek. The other curls against your stomach. You're still partly awake, and in that space, just. Before dreams, your thoughts drift like sea foam on the tide. You think about the beam of light spinning above. How it never asks to be noticed. How it doesn't know who sees it. And still it turns, steady, faithful, for anyone who might need it. Even if no one does, you think about the sea, how it crashed last night, and whispered today, how it holds. Both chaos and calm, and never apologizes for either. You think about the walls of this tower, how many storms they've held through. How many keepers have leaned against them and let out long, silent breaths in the dark. You think about the quiet, how it never once felt empty. You blink slowly. Your body feels warm, heavy, safe. You let your mind begin to loosen. Not from control, but from effort. There's nothing more to hold right now. Nothing more to manage. Even the sky outside no longer moves. The stars are fixed, as if watching over you. You picture the ocean, black and glimmering. The cliffs, damp and still. The trees swaying softly just beyond the tower. The beam of light brushing the edges of night. You picture it all continuing. Even as you rest, because it will. You've done your part. You've kept the watch. Now the tower will take over for you. Its walls will stand. Its lamp will turn. Its silence will keep breathing. You shift once more. Your breath deepens, and you finally allow your eyes to close, not to escape, but to stay fully in this moment of surrender. The wind outside touches the stone. The lantern glows a little dimmer, and within the walls of the lighthouse you sleep. Steadiness, softness, silence, and light. The tower is quiet, but not asleep. Its silence isn't stillness, it's watchfulness. Outside, the sea murmurs. Low, steady, a deep sound more felt than heard. Like the earth breathing beneath the water, the lighthouse beam turns. One slow sweep at a time. each rotation carving a gentle arc across waves and sky and shoreline. And no one sees it. No boats pass. No calls come through the wind, but the light doesn't stop, because that's never been the point. The lighthouse turns because it was built to turn. Because there might be a night when someone needs it, and whether they come or not, it will. Be ready down below. The flame in the lantern dims just slightly. Its wick burns low, but even. The cot creaks softly once, a shift in breath. A hand curling closer to the chest. You're still sleeping, deep now, your body fully sunk into the warmth of wool and wood. Your face relaxed, eyelids still, the tension. Long forgotten from your shoulders. Your dreams are soft, not vivid, not loud. Just fragments of sea and light and air, stitched together by the rhythm of the night above. The stars begin to change, not fade, just lean away from the peak of their brightness. One or two blink slowly, touched by the edge of something lighter far off to the east. The sky holds to darkness a little longer. The lighthouse turns, the waves roll. The world does not rush. Somewhere inland, a fox moves through the pine trees, its paws silent against damp earth. Its ears flick once. Then again a T stops near the edge of a bluff, just long enough to smell the salt in the air, before slipping back into the shadows, and still the beam turns. The foghorn groans once, long and low, as if clearing its voice before the hush of dawn arrives. Inside, the stove has cooled. Only a few warm coals remain beneath the ash. But the room does not feel cold. It feels kept. Everything is in its place. And the space has not forgotten that you are resting here. The walls hold the night like a secret. Outside, the sea sighs. A longer wave drags against the rocks, then retreats. The moon hangs low, draped in faint mist, almost ready to leave, and then the faintest color, not bright, not blue, just a thin suggestion of warmth. A seam of lavender above the sea's edge. It does not announce the morning. It simply begins it. The stars blink once more. The wind stirs softly, and above it all, the light continues its slow rotation, undisturbed, because even when the world is quiet, even when nothing seems to move, the lighthouse keeps turning, not out of duty, out of love, out of rhythm, out of the understanding that someone, somewhere, might someday look toward the shore and find their way because of this gentle beam moving through the dark. The first light brushes your eyelids before your eyes open. It's not sudden, not a pull. More like a soft touch, the sun's quiet way of saying, I'm here now. You shift beneath the blanket. One leg stretches slowly. A quiet breath escapes your lips, long and even. There is no alarm. No sound to startle you, only the steady rhythm of morning returning. And your body remembering how to rise. You open your eyes. The room is bathed in gold. The kind of morning light that doesn't fill a space, but rests in it. It warms the edge of the desk, the pillow beside you, the floor where your boots sit untouched. The lantern has gone out. Its flame extinguished sometime in the night, leaving behind a small curl of soot along the glass. You sit up slowly. The wool blanket slides down your shoulders. You rub your hands once against your face, then through your hair, and let your feet Touch the floor cool, familiar. You don't speak. You just breathe. And in that breath, you greet the day. You stand. Stretch your arms upward. Your spine rises with emotion. A gentle ache in your back fades with the pull of movement. You walk to the window. Outside, the ocean is lit from underneath, its waves tipped in pale silver. Its mist touched with the soft color of a sky not quite blue, but ready to be you. See birds now, a few gulls gliding low over the water. Wings spread wide. Silent, you see footprints in the sand near the tide line. Perhaps left by a fox. Or perhaps something you dreamed. You light the stove again, this time with slower hands. More ritual than necessity, the small fire crackles to life. The orange glow building back into the heart of the room. You fill the kettle. Set it down. And wait. The smell of heat on metal rises. You pour your tea. Hold the mug in both hands. And take the first sip in silence. No writing. No thinking, just sitting. Letting the warmth sink into your chest. The lighthouse above still turns. You haven't heard it yet. But you feel it, that steady sweep through the last breath of night. Fading, but not finished. You rise and climb the stairs. Your boots tap gently. Against the steps not loud, but enough to remind the tower that you're awake now. To the top. The lamp room glows with morning. The glass windows reflect the sun in long strokes, and the sea stretches wide and soft beneath it. The light is still, moving, its rotation slow, measured, faithful. You press the switch to power it down. The beam eases, slowing, until it stops. One final blink, and then stillness. You stand beside it. Your hand rests lightly on the rim of the lens. It's cool to the touch. It no longer needs to shine. Not for now, but it's ready, and so are you. You open a side window. The wind comes in salt sweet, cool and clean. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you just listen to the world. No waves crashing. Just rolling. No voices. Just presence. No questions. Just the certainty of another morning kept. You leave the window open a while longer. The breeze fills the lantern room gently, ruffling the edge of your sleeve, brushing past your collar. You let it move through, not just the room, but through you too, a kind of clearing, the kind that only morning brings. You close the window slowly, pressing the latch until it clicks. There's no rush to go downstairs, but your body begins to move. Anyway, not from duty, but from rhythm. The stairs are warm under your boots now, sunlight slipping through narrow gaps in the wooden walls, cutting clean stripes across each curve of the spiral. You reach the keeper's quarters. The small fire in the stove is steady. The kettle's still warm. You pour another cup of tea. Add just a bit more hot water. This is your second cup. And it tastes softer than the first. You sit by the desk again. The light coming through the window is brighter now, clearer. You take a small cloth, wipe the glass in slow circles. The streaks disappear. The view sharpens. Outside, the sea rolls. Lazily, no longer full of story, just full of movement. You take the logbook from the shelf. Open to a new page. Pick up your pencil and write. 6:45 a.m. light shut down at dawn. Sea calm. Slight wind from the northwest. Visibility excellent. No vessels. Morning steady. You close the log gently, as if not to disturb it. Set it aside. Then you take your notebook, the private one. The one that doesn't record duty, but awareness, and on a blank page, you write something you didn't know is waiting. Some mornings don't feel like beginnings. They feel like a return to something I never left, a slow reminder that the world continues gently, and without asking anything of me. I don't have to catch up. I just have to keep company with the light. You stop there, not because there isn't more, but because that was enough. You close the notebook. Run your fingers over its cover. There's flour in the cupboard. A few eggs in the bowl beside the sink. You think of making bread. Something simple. Something warm, but not yet. You walk outside first. Let your steps take you to the same stones you stood on yesterday. Now dry, sun-warmed. Dusted with traces of sea salt and sand. The sky is wide. A gull cries overhead. Another answers. You look down to the beach below the bluff. It's empty. Quiet. You take one slow breath in and release it through your nose. Everything is slower here, but not delayed, just gentle. You turn to look back at the lighthouse. It glows in the morning sun, not bright, but strong. Paint faded in places. Windows smudged with the memory of wind. The base dark with decades of mist and spray. It's beautiful. Not in the way you'd photograph, but in the way you'd miss if it ever disappeared. You return to the tower, step inside. The fire needs one more log. You add it, a few quiet pops. Then come again. You take out a bowl. Pour the flour. Crack the eggs. You mix slowly. With the same wooden spoon used for years, its handle smooth. From so many mornings just like this. There's no recipe. Just memory, just your hands. Your breath. The sound of a spoon in a bowl. And sunlight warming the wall beside you. The dough is soft in your hands. Not perfect. Not exact. But it doesn't need to be. It yields under your palms as you press and turn it, fold and shape it into something warm to come. Something familiar. Something that tells the morning, I'm here, and I'm staying. You dust the old wooden countertop with flour, watching the powder dance briefly in a beam of sunlight before it settles. The oven has warmed. You can feel it in the air, a slow, low heat that fills the room like breath. You shape the dough into a small round, press your fingers along the edges, and lift it carefully onto a baking stone. It slides in with a soft sound. You close the oven door. There is nothing more to do. Now, no timer to set. No clock to check. The bread will tell you when it's ready. The way scent creeps into the corners of the room, and the air changes. You wash your hands in the basin. Cool water. A metal tap. A well-worn towel hanging beside the window outside. The waves continue, no louder, no softer, just moving, just being. You return to your chair by the desk, not to write, just to sit, just to wait. There's a kind of joy in waiting when there's no urgency attached. When you're not watching the minutes, but watching the light shift across the floor. The scent begins slowly, not bold, not sweet, just warm, like morning settling into its second hour. Like the tower breathing out after holding the night, you close your eyes, Let the smell of baking bread fill the space around you. Let it wrap around the shelves and the windows and your skin. Let it say, "You are home." You rise and check the oven. The loaf is golden now, cracked gently along the top. Steam curls from a thin line in its crust. You lift it out. Place it on a towel. And wait. It must cool just a little. You clean the counter while it rests. Brush the last of the flour into your palm. Fold the cloth. Set the spoon in the basin. These are the kinds of moments that never make it into journals. But they are the ones you remember. When the loaf is cool enough, you cut a thick slice. The knife crunches through the crust. Reveals a soft, open middle still warm. You smear it with a bit of butter. Watch it melt into the corners. Then carry it to the window. The sky is higher now. Bluer, clear. The lighthouse casts a long shadow across the side of the hill. You take a bite. It's not perfect. It's better because it was made slowly, by hand, in a place where time isn't pushed, where you aren't expected to multitask your way through breakfast. You chew. You breathe. You look out at the sea. This is the kind of nourishment that goes deeper than hunger. This is presence, served. Warm, you finish the slice, wipe the crumbs from your fingers, and rinse your plate. Then, with no announcement, no moment of decision, you step outside once again. The wind has picked up, just slightly. Enough to lift the hem of your shirt, to tangle your hair across your cheek. You stand near the base of the tower, one hand resting against the stone. You look up. The lamp room shines in the sun. Still, waiting for dusk, you smile softly, not out. Of joy. Not from memory, from knowing that you are part of this place now. Not as a visitor, as a rhythm, like the light, like the tide, like the bread on your morning table. The day shifts again, not all at once, but like a tide reversing quietly. You don't need a clock to know. You feel it in the light, in the way it begins to soften around the edges, turning golden, slanting longer across the wooden floor. You finish your water, set the mug down, and stand. The tower is still, but the air is beginning to change. You gather. The lanterns check the oil, trim the wicks, wipe the glass with the corner of your sleeve. This is not preparation. It's participation, a kind of greeting, not for guests, not for anyone watching, just for the evening. Because even a day this calm deserves to be met with care. You carry the lanterns upstairs, one by one, placing them in the upper rooms. Each step of the spiral feels quieter than this morning. Not because the tower has changed, but because your presence inside it has softened. You pause halfway up, turn to look out the narrow side window. The sea is still glowing. Not brightly, but with that late afternoon shimmer as if it, too, is winding down. The sky is beginning to blush. Hues of faint apricot and lavender stretch low over the water, casting the kind of color you can't photograph. Only remember, you continue upward to the top. The lamp room holds on to the last light of day like cupped hands. It pours through the glass, painting the inside of the lens in gold. You press the button. A soft hum begins. The lens shifts, hesitates, then begins. Its turn. Once, twice. The same slow sweep you've come to know so well. Not dramatic. Not flashy, just steady. Sure. Present. You stand with one hand on the glass. Watch the first beam cut across the beginning dusk. There are no boats out tonight. No signal lights. No shapes on the water. But still the light turns, because that's the point. It turns whether someone's watching or not. It turns whether anyone needs it or not. And you turn with it in your own way. You descend slowly. Check the stove. Light a small flame not for heat, but for presence. You lay out the last of the bread on a wooden plate. Pour a fresh cup of tea. Add just a touch of honey this time. The room smells of pine smoke and evening light. You sit, one hand around your cup, one hand resting on the table, and you breathe. No music, no voice, no thought pulling you forward. Just now, just this. The tower above you continues its turn. The sea below continues its hush, and you remain the keeper, not because the world is in chaos, but because sometimes the world is quiet and still needs someone to hold that quiet with care. The light outside has faded to memory. Colors have drained slowly from the sky, leaving behind deep blue, then velvet gray, and now almost black. You stand once more at the window. The sea is a shadow, its lines softened, its movements barely visible, but you can hear it always. A breath in the background, steady as your own. The stars emerge, not all at once, but like shy companions returning from a long walk inland. You see the brighter ones, first Orion perhaps, then smaller ones blink to life. A constellation here, a scatter there. The light above continues to sweep. Its beam stretches across the sea, across the trees, across the invisible curve of the world. You close your eyes for a moment, feel the warmth of the tea still inside you, the comfort of bread in your chest, the presence of the tower all around you, not just as shelter, but as company. You rise and climb the stairs. It's darker now, the kind of darkness you only know when there are no cities nearby, no glowing signs, no distant headlights, just the true dark of night, soft, complete, honest. Each step is familiar. The wood creaks in its usual places. You carry a lantern. Its glow flickers against the white walls, casting gentle shadows behind you. At the top, the lamp turns, the mechanism hums. The lens glides. The light slices through the dark with grace never demanding, only offering. You sit in the chair, near the window. Let the light pass over you. Let the sea speak in low waves. You rest your arms on the sides. Let your hands hang loose. Let your eyelids lower, not to sleep, not yet, but to rest inside this moment. And no questions. No direction, just rhythm outside. A single gull calls once, then is silent again. A branch somewhere creaks in the wind. A pebble shifts on the path below. The foghorn does not sound tonight, but the silence does not feel empty. It feels held, like the tower is cupping the world gently between its walls. You think of the days before. The storm, the winds, the rising tide, and now this stillness, not as a reward, but as a continuation. You lean back slightly in the chair. The stars wheel above you slowly. The moon is low, soft, rounding into its next phase. You close your eyes. Fully now, just for a moment, just long enough to listen more deeply, and when you do, you hear everything at once: the sea, the sky, the turning light, and your own breath among it. There is nothing to decide, nothing to fix, nothing to plan, only this hour, this tower, this quiet, and you. The tower holds steady, its foundation sunk deep into the bluff, its walls aged. By wind, by salt, by time, above, the light continues, the lens turns with quiet grace, sweeping the coastline with slow, faithful rhythm. Not to wake the world, but to remind it that someone is still here, keeping watch. You rise from the chair, lantern in hand, and descend the stairs slowly. Each step down feels softer now, as though the tower itself is settling for the night. Not shutting down, just shifting into rest. The rooms below greet you with a hush. The fire in the stove has become a soft red glow. You do not stoke it. You let it fade. Some warmth is meant to last only as long as needed. You place the lantern on the table, its flicker dancing gently along the walls. Your bed is made, the blanket still folded from the morning. You pull it back. The cot creaks not loudly, just enough to say, "Welcome back." You sit on the edge for a moment. Let your hand run along the smooth grain of the wall beside you. Outside, the sea continues its long, endless breath. It no longer presses against the cliffs, it rocks them. Waves roll in. Waves roll out. Even the ocean rests in its own way. You lie back, blanket drawn up, pillow cool beneath your cheek. Your body sighs before your mouth does. A deep, slow release that begins in your shoulders and moves through your chest, your arms, your legs. You let your eyes close. Not tightly, just enough to dim the room behind them. The lantern flickers still, its light golden through your lids. You do not extinguish it. Let it keep its small watch as the larger one continues above. You drift, not all at once. Not like falling, more like floating, like a leaf caught in a current. Like mist rising off the water, too light to resist the air. Your breath becomes part of the rhythm now. Dot in, out. A pause between dot in, out. The wind brushes the side of the tower. A branch taps once, then stills somewhere nearby. A night bird calls low and short, as if unsure whether it wants to sing or sleep. You imagine the light above, still, turning, still sweeping through the sky like a slow heartbeat. You think of the boats that may pass, or may not. It doesn't matter. The light is there. The keeper is here. And the night is long enough for both. Your thoughts begin to blend now, not clear, not sharp, a memory of waves. The scent of pine smoke. The image of a single seashell resting on a stone, never touched, never moved, just shining. Your breath deepens, and soon there are no thoughts at all. Only warmth. Only stillness. Only the sound of your heart matching the rhythm of a tower by the sea where everything finally is at rest. Morning returns like breath, not rushed, not loud, just present. A soft light gathers at the edge of the sky. Not gold, not yet. More like ash blue and pearl gray, spreading quietly over the sea. Inside the lighthouse, the world holds its stillness. The stove is cold. The lantern has gone out. and your body lies quiet beneath the blanket, tucked into sleep so deeply you don't yet notice the light changing the room, but the light does change it. First the floorboards, then the desk, then the wall above your shoulder, each touched by a thin band of morning. Your breath deepens. One hand curls slowly, loosens. Your shoulder shifts. And then your eyes flutter open, not in resistance, but in agreement. The room is soft with dawn, dot and O-sharp corners. No hard colors. Just a quiet promise that the night is past, and the light has found you again. You remain. Still for a moment, feel the fabric of the blanket against your skin. Feel the cool air brushing your face. Feel your chest rise, then fall once, twice. You sit up slowly. No rush, no grogginess, just return. You swing your legs to the floor. The wood is cool, but no longer cold. You rise. Stretch your arms above your head, then out to your sides. Your spine lifts, curves, settles. You walk to the window. Outside, the sea glows. Not with the brilliance of full sun, but with that early light that seems to come from beneath the surface. Waves move like silver ribbons. Clouds float above the horizon, stretched thin, colored faintly pink. You lean your forehead against the cool glass. Close your eyes once more. Not in sleep. In thanks, you dress without thought. Each layer familiar. Each motion part of the mornings. Rhythm, the kettle goes on. The fire is sparked. The room slowly fills with the soft warmth of a day beginning, as it always has. You pour tea. Hold the mug between your palms. Sip. The warmth spreads through your chest, into your arms, down to your fingers. You don't write yet. You don't speak. You don't need to. You're awake. And that is enough. You step outside. The wind greets you with a light hand on your cheek. The sky is open. The trees stand still. The lighthouse behind you casts a faint shadow over the grass, long and soft in the low sun. You walk toward the bench again. Sit. The wood is cool but dry. The view is the same sea, sky, light, but it feels different. Not because it's changed, but because you know the silence now. Not as absence, but as companionship. You watch the waves. You watch the birds, and for a long moment, you do nothing else. You're not waiting for anything. You are simply with it, and it is with you. The bench holds your weight without protest. You lean back just slightly, resting one arm along the top rail, the other still cradling your warm mug. The tea has cooled a little, but it's still enough to keep your hands warm, enough to keep you still. The waves below rise and fall in their slow, wide rhythm, each one arriving as if it had always planned to, each one pulling away again without apology. There's a rhythm to the morning now, not something imposed, but something offered. You finish your tea, set the mug down beside you on the bench. Not carelessly, just gently, you rise and walk back toward the tower. Its base is catching the light now. The white stone glows with a softness that only early sun can bring. It doesn't feel like you're returning to the building. It feels like you're rejoining it. Like waking and the tower go hand in hand. You step inside. The floor is warm in patches where light has slipped between the window panes. You feel it through your socks' little suns beneath your feet. You refill the kettle, rinse the mug, set both aside. Then you open the small cupboard above the stove. Inside, oats, salt, a handful of dried apples in a paper packet folded shut. You measure the oats into a pot, no scale, no scoop, just enough. You crumble the apples with your hands, drop them in, add a pinch of salt between your fingers. The water begins to boil. You stir slowly, clockwise, then counterclockwise. The wooden spoon leaves soft ridges in the thickening oats. The smell is warm, comforting, like something remembered from long ago. Even if you've only just arrived here, you carry the bowl to the desk, eat quietly. Each bite is warm, filling, not indulgent, but exactly right. You eat slowly. You listen to the tower, to the faint creak of the upper beam, the soft groan of the window as it expands under sun. You hear a bird call once from beyond the pines. Then silence again. You finish the last spoonful. Scrape the bowl gently clean and set it in the basin. In no hurry to wash it. You will, but when the moment asks for it, you carry your notebook to the chair near the window. Open to a fresh page and write. The second morning feels quieter than the first, not because less is happening, but because more of me is here to notice it. There is no rush in me anymore, only rhythm. You stop there, not because you're done, but because the page feels full. You close the book, hold it in your lap for a moment, feel its weight. Then you look out the window. The light is changed again, brighter now, more golden, but still soft around the edges. The sea glimmers. The grass shifts, and the day has begun, not in noise, not in declaration, just in motion, just in being. You return the notebook to its place on the shelf. It rests easily between the candle and the small jar of matches, like it belongs there, like it's always belonged there. The room is filled with a soft glow now. Sunlight pours in more fully, touching the desk, the blanket folded on the cot, the handle of the kettle. You rise and move through the space with slow certainty. And no plan, no list, just the next right thing, and then the one after that. You open the door. The breeze greets you instantly, a little stronger now, carrying warmth from the rocks, salt from the sea, and the faint green scent of wild grass. You step outside. The sky has widened. Clouds are high and stretched thin, like brush strokes across pale blue. You walk the path again, the same as yesterday, but not the same at all. The light is different. The feel of the ground under your boots is different. Even your own breath feels more quiet, more sure. You stop by the rain barrel. Lift the lid. Still water, cool and clear. You touch its surface with the tip of your finger. It ripples once, then settles again. There's no need to take anything from it today. You close the lid gently and move on. The edge of the clearing. You gather a few fallen twigs, dry ones, bent and curled. You carry them in both hands back to the lighthouse. Lay them carefully in the basket near the stove. The fire is out, but you light it anyway, not for heat. The day is warm, but for ritual. There's comfort in the smell of smoke. Rising gently, the sound of wood popping as it settles into flame. You brew a fresh cup of tea, not because you need it, but because it gives the afternoon shape. You carry it outside. The bench is still there, still dappled in sun. You sit. The mug warms your hands. The steam rises softly. The sea below sparkles without trying. The breeze pulls your thoughts gently away, like threads unraveling in a slow wind. You don't chase them. You let them go. You look out over the water. A distant ship moves along the horizon, small, quiet. Unaware of your watching, you lift your mug, take a slow sip, and feel the warmth fill your chest. Nothing has changed, and everything feels new. You sit for a long time, watching light shift across the sea, watching clouds drift past, watching the moment deepen. You don't speak. There's no need. You're in conversation with the day itself, and the silence says everything. Eventually, the breeze cools just slightly, a reminder that evening is still far away, but on its way. You rise, mug empty, heart full. You walk back to the lighthouse, open the door, and step inside. The space greets you like it always does, not with noise, not with change, but with welcome. You close the door. Set the mug in the basin. The kettle still rests on the stove, quiet but warm. You add another small log. Watch it catch. Then you sit, not because there is something to do, but because you belong here. In this light, in this stillness, in this day that asked nothing of you and gave everything in return. The light begins to lean, not enough to call it evening, not yet, but enough that you notice the way it moves differently across the walls. Longer, softer, pulling gold into the corners. Where white once sat, you remain seated, watching it change. The fire in the stove crackles low. It has nothing urgent to say, just the occasional pop, the faint scent of pine resin. You rise and walk to the window. Place your palm flat against the glass. The sun outside is lower now, angled above the trees, touching the sea with a thin layer of copper light. The tide is higher. The waves are slower. Everything has quieted without stopping. You step outside again, the door clicking softly behind you. The breeze has cooled slightly. It lifts the edge of your sleeve, carries the smell of stone and water, and the last heat from the earth. You walk the perimeter once more, each step familiar, but never routine. You stop at the edge of the bluff. From here, the tower looks taller. Somehow, bathed in light from one side, casting a long shadow across the wild grass. You stand with both hands in your pockets, shoulders relaxed, and watch the world change. A single gull floats far above, circling slowly, its wings never flapping, just adjusting gently. Riding the last warm currents of the day, you sit on the ground this time. Not the bench, just the earth. Your fingers run through the blades of grass, cool and thin, still damp in the shade. You lean back, rest on your hands, and look toward the horizon. The sea stretches as far as it ever has, but now it seems to glow from within, as if it remembers the sun before it leaves. You stay there a while. No reason to leave. No reason to wait. Eventually, the light grows softer still, and the first long shadow of the lighthouse reaches your feet. You rise, brush the earth from your palms. and walk slowly back to the tower. Inside, the warmth greets you, not heat presence. The stove glows softly. The lanterns sit ready. The tower feels expectant. You trim the wicks. Check the oil. Wipe the glass. Each task is quiet, unhurried. Done not to prepare, but to honor the evening to come. You carry the first lantern up the spiral stairs. The air is still. The sky outside darkening by degrees. You reach the lamp room. The lens is still waiting. You press the switch dot. It hums gently like the breath of a sleeping animal, returning to motion after rest. The light begins to turn, one sweep, then another. The beam reaches out through the dimming sky, across the water, into the mist, across unseen waves. You stand beside it, watching. You don't need to do anything now. It's working. You've done your part. The day is ending. But the watch begins again, and you're not tired. You're ready. You descend the stairs. The scent of the fire deepens as you return to the main room. You pour a fresh cup of tea. Not because you're cold. Because you always do. You sit and sip and wait for the stars. They never take long. The last light of the sun has slipped below the edge of the sea. No fanfare. Just a slow farewell that turns gold into gray, and gray into blue. You remain at the desk. The steam from your tea has faded, but the warmth still lingers in the mug. And in your chest, outside the window, the sky has darkened. Not suddenly, but entirely. Tea is full now, full of stars, full of night. You step outside without your coat. The air is cool but soft. Not a warning, just an invitation to be present. The grass beneath your feet is dry, the stones warm with the last of the day's heat. Above you, the tower shines. Its light completes another slow turn, sweeping calmly across the trees, the path, the cliff's edge, and the water far below. You walk to the bench once more and sit without a sound. The stars overhead are sharper tonight. You can see the quiet flicker in their distance, as if they're breathing too slowly, steadily. With you, you trace a few constellations in your mind, ones you knew once and now know again. You don't name them out loud. They don't need names. To keep you company, a breeze passes through. It brushes your cheek like a familiar hand. It smells of pine and salt and something softer, perhaps the edges of sleep. You close your eyes for a while, not to drift away, but to stay more deeply. The world continues around you. The sea moves. The sky turns. The lighthouse watches, and you, in your stillness, are part of it all. Eventually, you rise. Walk slowly back to the tower. Your shadow falls long behind you in the glow of the lamp room. The door opens easily. The warmth of the stove greets you. The walls hold the hush of night. You set your mug on the counter, fold the blanket across your arms, and walk to the cot. There is no ritual beyond this. You lie down, the blanket covers you. Your body sinks into the simple mattress. The sounds of the sea rise again, just enough to be heard. The lighthouse turns. The tower stands. The world outside moves softly onward. You close your eyes, and the rhythm returns, not as an action, not as a task, but as breath. your own breath. One quiet rise. One soft fall. You are not alone. You are not waiting. You are not seeking. You are keeping, and the night is keeping you in return. The world brightens before your eyes open, not with sound, not with motion. Just light gentle, filtered, golden dot it creeps along the wall behind you, slips beneath the blanket's edge, touches your cheek as if to say, you may rise when you're ready. You take a breath, long, unforced, and open your eyes. The room is softly lit. Not yet full daylight, just the first steady blush of morning. You lie still for a while. There is no alarm, no demand, only warmth and the sound of quiet wind rubbing softly against the stone outside. Your body feels rested, but not separate, as if it, too, had been part of the lighthouse all night. Just another stone in the tower, another beam in the ceiling. You sit up slowly. The blanket pulls at your waist. Your bare feet find the cool floor. You stretch your arms gently, roll your neck, touch your fingertips to the edge of the window pane. Outside, the sea glows again. It always returns to light, no matter the storm. No matter the night, the sky is cloudless, pale at the horizon, deepening into blue above. Waves move quietly, neither shy nor loud, just steady. As always, you rise. Pull on your clothes. Move through the room without thinking. The kettle is filled, the fire stoked, the match struck. Each movement is memory now, but not routine. Nothing here ever becomes meaningless. You brew your tea. Sit at the desk. Wrap both hands around the mug and listen. No gulls yet. No boats. Just wind and wave and wood settling gently in the warming light. You look toward the shelf. Your notebook waits. You open it, find a fresh page, and begin to write. This morning does not feel new. It feels known. As if I've lived it before, not yesterday, but in a time without clocks. This is not a beginning. This is a continuation of everything that matters: breath, light, presence, and peace. You set the pencil down. Let the words rest there unfinished, but full. You rise, step outside. The door creaks gently, then closes behind you with a soft click. The air smells of salt and clean stone. The sky is open and blue. The sea stretches far and still. You walk toward the bluff. The earth is dry beneath your boots. The grass bends in the breeze. The wind wraps around your arms, tucks behind your ear, and there it is, the tower at your back, the ocean before you. The light of morning all around. You breathe in deeply and exhale, and the day begins again, not new, but whole, exactly as it should. You remain at the edge of the bluff for a while, watching the horizon shift in the morning sun. The light plays gently on the surface of the sea, not sharp, not bright, but soft, like gold through glass. There are no ships in sight today. No figures on the sand below. No movement, but the natural, the endless pulse of waves and wind and distant cloud. And that's enough. You turn from the sea and make your way back toward the tower. The lighthouse stands behind you, bathed in light now, its shadow stretched long across the grass. It doesn't seem tall anymore. It seems known, like a person you trust deeply, not because they speak often, but because they are always there. The door opens with a soft creak. Inside, the warmth is low but steady. The fire hasn't gone out, and the last log from the night glows in its center. You add another, not because the room is cold, but because the sound of crackling belongs to the morning. You rinse your mug, refill the kettle, and set it to boil again. Your hands move gently, slowly. With no need for speed, you open the small wooden drawer by the stove and take out a crust of yesterday's bread. Toast it lightly against the stove grate. Rub it with a little butter. Set it on a small plate. You eat with one hand, leaning against the table. The flavor is quiet wheat and salt and fire. Nothing sweet, nothing sharp, just honest. The kettle begins to sing. You make your tea, the steam rising again, curling around your face like a scarf. You carry it to the chair by the window, the same chair, the same window, but the view always offers something new. Today, it's a darker ribbon of water beyond the rocks, a deeper blue, as if the sea is remembering something important below its surface. You sip, and you write 3 days now. And it feels less like a stretch of time, and more like a widening. I am not tracking hours here. I am learning how to be a part of the rhythm. The light, the tide, the flame, the stillness. I am not separate from them. I am not witnessing them. I am with them. You pause, set the pencil down, close your eyes. The air is warmer now. The sounds outside more present: a gull overhead, a creak in the weathered eaves, the soft push of wind along the western wall. You stand, not to leave, but to move, to continue the day, not by direction, but by flow. You sweep the stone entryway. Dust gathers in quiet corners. You brush it gently into the garden bed outside, where the breeze will carry it away. You take a cloth to the salt-specked windows. Watch the glass clear with each circle of your hand, until the view becomes whole again. You refill the oil in one of the lanterns, not because it's low, but because it's easier to tend to the small things before they ask. You fold a blanket, straighten a chair, wipe a line of dust from the spine of a book you haven't read, but keep nearby anyway. These aren't chores. They're care. You're not passing time. You're being in it. Outside, the wind lifts again. You feel it in your chest, not as chill, but as movement. You step onto the stone landing. Look once more at the sea, at the lighthouse above you, at the sky that keeps opening wider. There's nothing to prepare for, nothing to anticipate. Just this day, this hour, this breath, and the quiet joy of being exactly where you are. The afternoon arrives like a soft tide, not crashing in, but unfolding. You don't notice when morning ends. You only feel the sun shift, the air warm more fully. The shadows stretch across the floor in longer strokes. You return inside, your boots leaving faint prints on the stone trails of dust from the garden bed, smoothed away as you cross the room. The fire is low, but still alive. It doesn't ask for more, but you add one small log anyway, letting it settle in with a slow crackle. Its scent curls upward, pine and ash and heat. You pour another cup of water. Cool, clear. You sip it near the window, watching the breeze brush through the grass outside, bending it in soft, lazy waves, as if even the land is breathing. The sea reflects the sky now, a wide sheet of color shifting with every minute. Pale near the shore, deep blue near the horizon. Not flat but quiet, you sit again by the desk, not to write, but to rest. There is nothing to note today. No changes. No arrivals. And yet, everything feels full, the kind of fullness that doesn't need description. The kind that doesn't press on your chest, but holds it. After a while, you rise, sweep the hearth, tidy the basin, fold a towel. You tie back the window curtain with a piece of string, letting the sun pour through more freely. A tea lights the opposite wall, catches a brass nail near the coat hook, and shines in a line along the spine of your notebook. You don't look away. You don't reach for it. You just stand there, letting the beauty arrive and leave in its own time. Later, you step out again, not because the day demands it, but because your body asks to move. You take the long path this time, the one that curves behind the tower, where the pines grow thicker and the cliffside thins into rocky shelves. Your boots crunch lightly against gravel. You hear a gull above, then another in the distance, as if they're calling to one another without urgency. At the far bend of the path, you stop. There's a flat stone there, just large enough to sit, worn smooth by years of wind and water. You lower yourself down, rest your elbows on your knees, and look out. The sea is everything, and yet not overwhelming. It doesn't demand to be admired, it simply is. You watch a wave form, gather, roll, then disappear into the next. You feel your breath match it, not by effort, just by rhythm. In, hold, out. In, hold, out. The sky above is wider than before, not because it's changed, but because you've given it space. Your eyes close. You stay, not to meditate, not to think, just to be. The warmth of the stone beneath you, the press of breeze along your jaw, the smell of sea and cedar. They hold you like a quiet answer to a question you didn't ask. Eventually, you stand, stretch, walk the path slowly back. The lighthouse appears again. Its tall frame leaning gently into the sky, as if it had been watching you from behind all this time. You return to the tower, step inside, close the door, and breathe in the stillness. Afternoon has deepened, but you don't think about what comes next. You just sit and stay. The light begins to bend again. You don't notice it at first, just the way shadows gather under the desk, the golden streak along the stairwell wall, the sudden gleam off the kettle's handle. You look toward the window. The sky has deepened, not darker, but richer, a deeper blue, edges tinged in apricot, clouds drifting like they've forgotten their weight. You rise without thinking, not because something needs doing, but because something is happening. Evening is arriving, not as a line between day and night, but as a soft unfolding. You walk to the stove, stir the coals, add a log. It catches slowly, a single flame curling around the bark like a ribbon. The scent of pine resin lifts into the room again, sweet and faintly smoky. You check the lanterns. Their oil levels are fine. The wicks trimmed, the glass clean. They've been waiting for this hour, just like you. You take the first one upstairs, cradled in both hands. Each step of the spiral stair creaks a little lower this time, as if echoing the weight of light as it descends from the sky dotted to the top. The lamp room is quiet. The lens still. The windows catching the last blush of sun. You pause before touching the switch, just watching. The sea glows faintly below, no longer reflecting the sky, but holding its own color, a smooth pewter sheen that rolls and rolls without end. You breathe in and press the switch. The lens hums, shifts, turns. The first sweep of light pushes softly through the air, reaching across the bluff, then across the water. You stand still, watching it move, feeling something unnameable settle in your chest. Reassurance, maybe, or simply rhythm. You descend again, light casting faint stripes along the wall beside you. Dot in the keeper's room. The shadows have grown long. You light the second lantern. Its glow reaches into the corners without breaking the darkness. You set the kettle on again, not because you need tea, but because the steam belongs here. You take out a slice of bread, toast it against the stove, spread a touch of butter across its surface. The smell rises warm and earthy and soft. You eat slowly, quietly, looking out the window. The sky has turned indigo now. The first stars beginning to arrive, not boldly, but as if remembering their place. You pour the tea, wrap your hands around the mug, and sit by the window again. The lighthouse continues its turn. One beam, then another. The sea holds the last of the light like glass. The breeze pushes against the walls with a sound like fabric shifting. You feel it in your ribs. A calm weight, a presence. You sip the tea, write one sentence in your notebook. The light has turned again. So have I. You close the book. Let it rest on the desk. You finish your tea. Let the mug cool in your palms, and then you sit, not waiting for night, but receiving it the way you'd welcome a guest you've grown to know better each time they return. The night settles in completely. Dot. A tea doesn't fall, it arrives. Soft-footed. Sure, wrapping itself around the tower like a familiar coat. You feel it first in the stillness. The wind quiets. The trees no longer rustle. Even the waves soften, as though hushed by the turning stars. Inside, the lantern glows warmly on the desk. The fire burns low, its orange light flickering across the stove door. No need to stoke it, just let it last. You sip the last of your tea. It's gone cool, but it tastes like the day calm, deep and whole. You rise from the chair. The room is clean. The shelves are in order. Everything in its place, but this isn't the kind of order you keep for appearances. It's the kind you maintain so that silence has space to breathe. You take the lantern in hand and begin the slow climb to the lamp room. Each step creaks familiarly. Each curve of the stair hugs your presence. The glow of the lantern sweeps ahead of you, casting gold along the whitewashed walls dotted to the top. You push open the narrow door with your shoulder. The room is glass and motion, and hush, the beam turns. Once, twice, you watch it sweep into the dark. It's different at night. In the day, the light is seen. A tea night. It's felt. It reaches not just into the sea, but into something inside you, the part that also turns slowly, faithfully, quietly. You set the lantern down. Sit in the chair beside the lens. Let the light pass over your face. Let it move through your silence. You sit a long time, not counting minutes, not needing them. The stars shift above you. A faint wisp of cloud moves across the moon. The sea below remains dark, no boats, no signal lights. Just the quiet shimmer of water remembering the light from hours before. You close your eyes, not to sleep, to listen.to yourself, to the tower, to the night. Everything speaks in slow pulses now, the sweep of the light, the breath of the wind, the sigh of the floorboards settling. You do not feel alone. Not in the slightest. You are surrounded by presence not loud, not seen, but deeply here. Eventually, you rise, descend the stairs again, lantern swaying at your side, back in the keeper's room. The fire is embers now. The air cool, but kind. You set the lantern on the table, fold the blanket across your arms, and move to the cot. You lie down slowly, let the blanket fall over your body like a final layer of light. Outside, the beam turns. It will turn all night, whether you sleep or not, whether anyone sees it or not, because the light doesn't wait to be needed. It simply continues, and so do you. You let your breath match its rhythm. One inhale, one turn, one exhale, one sweep. The sea whispers below, the stars. Lean close, and you let go gently into the care of the night. There is no alarm, no sudden shift, just the quiet sense that light has returned. You feel it before your eyes open. A gentle warmth on your face, a softness across the room. The stillness of night dissolving into something new, something kind. You breathe in. The air is cool, fresh, carrying the faintest scent of salt and ash and morning. You open your eyes. The room is filled with pale light. Not bright, not yet, but wide and low and filled with promise. The lantern on the desk is out. The fire in the stove is quiet, but neither absence feels empty, only finished, complete. You sit up slowly. The blanket falls into your lap. Your shoulders stretch with the motion, and your spine straightens as though it knows exactly how the day will unfold. You place your feet on the floor. Feel the wood under your soles. Solid, cool, steady. You rise. In a rush. No noise, just presence. You walk to the window. Place your hand on the sill. Lean in. The sea is calm, its surface like silk. The horizon wide and blue and soft-edged, as if drawn with charcoal instead of ink. The sky is already shifting, pale gold gathering in the east, clouds tinged with the first warm tones of the day. You stay there for a while, letting the light touch your skin, letting your breath rise and fall with the sea. Then you move. You light the stove. The match catches with a quiet hiss. The kettle is filled. Set gently above the flame, you move through the room, gathering the small tasks the morning always offers. The blanket is folded, the basin rinsed, a clean mug placed beside the stove. You wait for the water to heat, not impatient, not distracted, just waiting. The kettle whistles softly. You pour the tea. Steam curls into the morning air like breath. From the house itself, you carry the mug to your favorite chair. Sit near the window and sip. one hand on the cup, one resting on your lap. The light outside brightens slowly. No glare, no glare. Just arrival. You sip again. Feel the warmth slide down your chest. A gull calls distantly. Wings cut once across the sky. Then silence. You pick up your notebook. Open to a fresh page. Write without hesitation. I no longer think in days. I think in light, in tides, in fire and steam and breath. This morning is not new.it, is a place I've returned to, and in that return, I remember myself. You close the book, not abruptly, not tightly, just with care. Outside, the lighthouse stands as it always has. The lens is still now, waiting for dusk, but its presence is felt even without motion. You finish your tea, set the mug down, and breathe in the fullness of the morning, not as a beginning, not as a task, but as part of the rhythm that now lives in you, as completely as your own heartbeat. The tea is gone, but its warmth lingers in your chest, in your fingertips, in the breath you exhale as you rise from the chair. The light outside is full now, not harsh, just clear. The kind of light that shows everything and demands nothing. You open the door to the outside. The hinges creak softly, a sound that feels more like greeting than friction. You step out. The morning air is cool. On your face, your arms, your neck, but not cold. It carries the scent of grass, of wind-washed stone, and the faint, steady rhythm of the sea. The grass along the path bends gently, still damp, still waking. You walk without direction, not because you are lost, but because you trust the day to unfold. You follow the bluff's edge, where the land breaks open to the sea. The tide is lower than yesterday. You can see the darker lines of rock now uncovered by the retreating water. A small boat rocks gently in the distance, its sail pulled in, its figure still. You don't know who it belongs to. You don't need to. You stop by a patch of low shrubs. Pick up a fallen branch. Brush away a clump of old needles from the stone beside you. There is no urgency, just presence. Everything you touch today feels like part of a conversation that began long before you arrived and will continue long after. You sit on the same stone as yesterday, but the view is new. The sea a lighter blue, the sky fuller, the wind slower. You rest your hands on your knees. Close your eyes for a moment. You don't drift. You settle into silence, into stillness, into the wide, open shape of time that asks nothing but awareness. Eventually, you rise, make your way back to the tower. The path feels softer beneath your boots, or perhaps your steps have grown gentler. You enter the lighthouse again as you would enter a friend's home without knocking, but full of care. Inside, the room welcomes you. Sunlight fills it. From one side, leaving the corners in golden shadow, you refill the basin. Fold the extra blanket on the cot. Sweep a few leaves from the threshold. Each act is simple, but none of them feel small. They are part of the keeping, not just of this tower. Of this life, you prepare a light meal. Bread, cheese, one apple sliced with care. You eat near the window. The breeze pushes gently against the pane. You pause between bites to look at the way the clouds move over the sea slow, sure. unconcerned with where they've been when the food is gone. You clean the plate, rinse the knife, dry both with the towel you folded earlier. You light the fire again, not because you're cold, but because the day deserves a flame. You sit, hands resting on your thighs, breath quiet and full. You do not think about the evening to come. You do not wonder about tomorrow. You are not waiting, you are keeping, and in this keeping, there is nothing missing. The light has shifted again. You don't check the hour. You don't need to. You feel it in the way the sun leans lower, casting the windows in a softer gold, filling the room with slanted warmth and long, whispering shadows. You rise from the chair, stretch once, arms above your head, fingers outstretched. Then let your arms fall gently back to your sides. There is nothing pulling you forward. And yet, your body moves with purpose. You sweep the floor again, not because it's dirty, but because the act centers you, the soft hush of bristles. On stone, the way the dust gathers like memory and is lifted away with one careful motion. You check the oil in the lanterns. Not urgently, just kindly, still half full, enough to last through another night. You step outside, the sun now warm on your back. The sky has begun its slow descent into color-pale blues deepening. A hint of rose along the edges, the breeze. Changing from scentless to salt-sweet, you walk the longer path today, circling the tower from behind, where the grass grows taller and the trees press closer. Birdsong filters through the branches. Not loud, just present. You pause to run your hand along the bark of a leaning pine, rough and cool under your fingers, its surface marked by wind, by rain, by time. You wonder not for the first time how long it stood here. How many other keepers have passed it? How many have walked this same path, feeling exactly what you feel now? Not loneliness, but quiet company. At the cliff's edge, you stop again, sit on the flat rock that slowly shaped itself to your presence. Over these many days, the sea is calm, glass-like in places. A few white caps farther out, where the wind stirs the surface, you watch a small bird hop across the bluff below, too quick to name, but familiar now. It glances upward once, then disappears into the grass. The lighthouse behind you casts its shadow long across the field. You don't turn to look. You can feel it there. Like a hand on your shoulder, you sit a while longer, until the wind begins to cool, and the light takes on that amber tint that says evening is no longer far, just waiting behind the next breath. You stand, brush your palms together, walk back. Toward the tower, each step feels quieter than the one before. Not from silence, from peace. You open the door. The air inside greets you gently. The fire in the stove is low, but still glowing. You add one small log. Watch the orange climb over the bark, curl into flames, settle. You place a kettle on. Begin to slice the last of the apple from the morning. The sound of the knife against the wood is soft, a slow rhythm. You prepare another cup of tea, add a bit of honey, and sit once more at the desk. Outside, the light turns golden. The sea reflects the color like brushed brass. Everything shimmers just a little. You write one quiet line in your notebook. Nothing in me is waiting anymore. Then you close it, not with finality, with ease, because the next moment like the last will arrive without asking. Evening gathers once more, not abruptly, not like a curtain falling, but like a soft exhale at the end of a long breath. The sky leans into its deeper colors, blue deepening to navy, edges streaked in faded pink, as if the day is giving one last smile before it rests. You light the lantern. Its glow fills the room with a honeyed warmth, casting soft light on the floor. The desk, the blanket folded at the edge of the cot. Outside the window, the sea is a quiet shadow. Still moving, always moving, but without urgency now. You sip the tea in your hands, its steam curling lazily in the cooler air. The flavor is softer in the evening. Or maybe you are softer. The notebook lies closed beside you. There's no need to write tonight. You've already said what matters. The kettle is cool. The fire now more glow than flame. And still, nothing feels like it's ending. You rise, carry the lantern to the stairs. Climb slowly, the wood creaking gently beneath your feet, as it always does, dotted to the top. The lamp room is dim, the last blush of dusk, clinging to the edges of glass. The lens waits quietly, its form familiar now, as steady as breath. You press. The switch, the soft hum returns. The lens stirs, then begins its slow, sacred turn. One sweep, then another. Its beam touches the sea, the cliff, the trees. The stars.it does not ask if anyone is watching. It just shines. You sit for a while beside it, watching the light pass, watching the night grow darker and somehow more alive. Then you descend once more, the spiral stair wrapping gently around you like a lullaby. The keeper's room is ready for sleep. Not in preparation, but in peace. You tidy nothing. You straighten nothing. Because nothing is out of place, you pull the blanket over your shoulders and lie on the cot, facing the ceiling. Your eyes stay open for a while. You listen to the quiet, to the small sigh of wind against the glass, the soft tick of wood cooling. In the stove, the distant echo of waves. You think about the first time you entered this place, how it seemed so still, and how now. You know its every movement, every whisper of board and beam, every breath of light and shadow. You no longer feel like a guest here. You're part of the structure now. Woven into its rhythm, a keeper not of a tower, but of a way of being, a stillness that moves, a silence that speaks. Your eyes begin to close, not as an ending, just as the next step. Outside, the light turns again, and again, and again, across. A sea that has no edge, under stars that have seen 1,000 such nights, for ships that may never come, but still it turns, and so do you inward, quietly, entirely, kept and keeping, always the end good night.